Cool. Sounds great.
Welcome, everyone, to the FIBC call. We have the honor and pleasure of having the medical director and founder of Take Shape for Life on this call to lead us. And those of you who are learning how to build it to FIBC, he's going to make it real simple. We're going to start with what is the cornerstone that you need to put in place from the very beginning so that you can build a large, sustainable, fully integrated business. So Dr. Andersen is the master of that. And I want to turn it over to him to give him the opportunity to work with you all. I have the map. I have some tools that I'm ready to pull up at any time. Dr. A, I want to be your backup and support you with leading this call. So welcome, Dr. Andersen. Thank you.
Awesome, Whitney. Thank you so much. And thanks, everybody, for joining us today. Hopefully, we're going to have fun over the next hour. And this call is really going to be about you. I know how to build FIBCs. I've built quite a few of them. What we want to do is make sure that you know how to do that. If you've done that yourself, then show you how to help others do that. And if you haven't yet done that, put you in position to be able to do that and learn that talent. First of all, I'm sitting here today in my home office in Annapolis, and I've had the pleasure of having the president, Mona Mali, has been with me. And we're going to be here today. We're going out to dinner and then going into meetings tomorrow with the rest of the corporate executives. And Dan is flying in, and we're going to be really focusing on the strategy. Last night, we did a call with our fully integrated business leaders, really focusing on what are the key things that we want to add to Take Shape for Life to make it easier for you to thrive in your building your team and your organization. So there's a lot of amazing things. Mona and I have been talking about the possibilities of how we're going to grow over the next 12, 24 months. And that's great for the infrastructure, for the whole organization. But what I really want to focus on today is you, really putting you in position. So I got to show you really quick. So I'm sitting here with Mona, and we're sitting here. We have a nice fire going, and it's a beautiful day here in Annapolis. We're looking out over the water, and it's chilly, but it's really pretty. And we were sitting in here, and I'm sitting here with the president of the company in a very different type of relationship, a relationship where we're focusing on what is the opportunity for us to carry this mission to so many more Americans, to put us in position then to go internationally. And, Mona is a Parisian. She grew up in Paris and has lots of international experience. And so what we do over the next 12, 24 months in this country will set the stage for us now to create optimal health for the rest of the world. And I think we all agree that the world needs a lot of help right now. People are suffering the channels of communication and the humanistic parts that are so important to really thriving on this planet that we're on together could use some help. And so I started, you may think, wow, I just want to know how to go FIBC, and he's talking about world changes. But see, world changes start at the grassroots approach. And for each and every one of you, as we kind of come into this era in our lives, we have the opportunity to truly make a difference. And I don't mean that from, vote for whoever the next president is going to be. I'm talking about fundamentally to be able to go into your community, to your friends, to your families, to be part of now a new way of living our lives. And I'm absolutely convinced at the very inside my heart that is up to us to do. And we have the opportunity to do that. And so I asked today, the first question is, since Take Shape for Life, you've been exposed to Take Shape for Life, is your life better? Is your life better? Everybody raise your hand if your life's better. So if we have 10,000 coaches, 5,000 of them have actually taken the mantle of this vehicle, but we have over 311 million Americans or 310 million Americans that have never even heard of us, do we have some work to do? If our lives are all better and we come from very diversified backgrounds, is it important for us to do this? Well, it's important to it if you really want to be part of this change. And so what I want to talk about today are three things. Being on purpose, prioritizing what's important, and then how to increase your productivity. And Whitney has talked about becoming a fully integrated business coach. So that, in essence, is it's kind of the gold standard. It sets up. So I want to open up the line now and tell me tell me what it means and what do you think it means to be a fully integrated business coach? So whoever, just unmute yourself individually. But what does it mean to be a fully, because I think it's important before I tell you mechanically, you can look up online or look up in the compensation plan and there's a chart and it'll give you the mechanics of it. But what does it mean to be a fully integrated business coach? So let's, can people unmute and tell me? I see people chatting, but which is okay, but I actually love to hear voices so I can respond to that. So how you want to do that, Whitney?
Yeah, anybody who wants to share, you either, if you're on your phone, hit *6 so that you can share, or if you're on Zoom, look for your little microphone and click on the red line that goes through it. I'm going to share what mine is, Dr. A, and the word is freedom. The essence of what we've created over the last 13 years is, a sense of freedom, but also the freedom that we've gotten to help develop for other people. So it's not just my freedom, it's the freedom that I've been able to impart on others.
Yeah,
Anyone else?
Love that. Who else?
Go
ahead, Pat.
Choices. I think this business gives us choices to be able to choose what we do with our days. We've seen so many, choose to continue the wonderful occupations they were in, but maybe with different time freedoms. We've seen parents choose to raise their own children, lots of moms and even some dads, and just different choices.
Okay, I love that. Okay, who else?
Pat's chosen to go on the road, by the way, Pat. It looks like you've chosen to be a mobile global. Is that right? Are you in your mobile home?
For a season.
Cool. Okay, who else? I didn't explain something about this call. It's really, really important that I get to hear from more of you. I hear from Whitney and I hear from Pat, and they're leading the way. But I actually want some of you to kind of, in your mind, converse now what you're feeling, because you know what? This is not a business where it's a spectator sport. This is a business where we're going to help you get out of your own way, get out there and actually realize the life. And, the first two choices that two of our higher leaders mentioned are freedom and choice to organize your life around what matters most, and the freedom to make the choices you want. I think those are pretty powerful things, aren't they?
Yeah.
Aren't there more people that would like that?
Yeah. Dr. A?
Yes.
One of the things that we didn't even realize when we came into this business is that it has sustainability forever. Like I feel like Take Shape for Life will be a part of our life for the rest of our life. The business brings this amazing freedom. Like most people know, I had tremendous family sickness in November and December, and our Take Shape for Life family was very supportive, but I had complete freedom to make choices that I would not otherwise have. And it's sustaining. It's just amazing where you can put a smaller amount of hours in each day, but yet you still have this tremendous business. Or you can decide to go full out and do a lot. But depending on what's going on in your life, the freedom of choice is in the sustainability of this. It is so sustainable, which is just excites Greg and I every day.
Wow, no, I love that. Thank you, Denise. That was great. Okay. Yes. Liz. You got to unmute yourself. Right. Go ahead.
To me, it's a great team. That's really a great, healthy team to work with. I've worked with teams that aren't so great and aren't so healthy. And so the opportunity of this business is really a great, healthy, vibrant team.
I love that, Liz. And, that's so important. In terms of, I'm in the process of the next iteration of the Habits of Health and how to truly help people make effectual changes. And one of the key components of that is the reinforcement. The word bionetwork is a word I made up many years ago. It talks about healing yourself from the inside and then reaching out and helping others. And the synergies of those two things together are very powerful. And that's why what's important for everybody as you think about becoming fully integrated business coaches is you need to start bringing on coaches, and they need to go senior coach, which means they're actually not just getting a kit, but they're actually now bringing on clients. And so the idea there is that if we work together and we focus on improving and transforming our own health, physical, mental, and financial, and then reach out and help others. There's great synergism in that. And there's some great studies, and I'm looking at the literature. 20% in terms of modeling, if you model someone else, your chances of success are much higher. So you're absolutely, and also a place to come to. There's so many people that join organizations, truck pulls or these nutty things where they're making, crazy stuff, and they do it because they enjoy that association, that commonality to be able to share on a one-to-one basis. But imagine if you could join an organization where you can organize your life around what matters most, help others, and create a place where you can have conversations like that with the founder of the company. I'm sitting here today talking to you, we're partners, and we're doing this in a fashion where I'm excited because maybe something today will help you on your journey or help you with your clients or your coaches, and yet at the same time, it puts you in position to now help us on our mission, which for me is to create a healthier world. And the beauty of that is what we're following. Somebody, we need to mute because somebody's echoing. There's getting echoing. So make sure everybody's muted. The beauty of that is that if we look at going back to what my first goal is, which is to give you the opportunity to create optimal health over time, is that one of the neat, important parts of long-term radiant health is the compassion and the low sympathetic nervous system. In other words, we, by default, were meant to be compassionate. 10,000 years ago, if we look at our design, by us working together in a commonality, it not only lowered our stress levels, but it also put us in a position to be healthier, to be more vibrant. Because when we are relaxed and we're working with someone else and in a parasympathetic tone, even our face muscles, the 200 muscles in your face, they quiet, they become more friendly. The more when you meet somebody, you can just feel an affinity. They're cool. Jamil Frazier, man, look at Jamil. He sent me a really cool thing today that thanking me that 3 years ago at this time, he met me at a meeting in an ED training and it changed his life. And he said, and you know what? I look at this guy and he said, I don't know why you did that and why you spent the time with me then. I did because I saw this incredible, confused at the time, not sure, thought he had to get coaches, but I saw this infectious smile and I could tell this amazing soul underneath there. And so what I'm saying is today is that all the attributes that we've been talking about, and Liz, I love what you said, it's this feeling of team, it's this feeling of collaboration that we can be totally individual to what our needs are, but together collectively we create this almost impenetrable organization where we can thrive and we can become great in terms of our physical, our mental, and our financial health. So excited. Wait, what did Amanda just say? Hold on, I got to get that. It said, don't ask what the world needs, ask what makes you come alive and go do it. Because what the world needs is for people who have come alive. That's FIBC to me. I love that. Thank you for sharing that, man. That was great. So with that, I want to spend a couple moments on the fundamental building block of FIBC. You see, an FIBC is someone that now has mastered health coaching. So they've gotten great. They have, on average, just because, one of the great things of having Mona as a partner is she really understands the metrics of this business. And what you don't measure can't grow consistently. So measuring our metrics are to allow us to create the gradients to improve ourselves and to get better. And one of the key things, and I'm going to be talking about this at Go Global, is creating more, basically mastering your craft and creating more masterpiece days and putting you in position to truly create mastery of your profession. And your profession in this is to become the highest version of yourself, to help you over time thrive in your life, to flourish, to be fully connected and very, very competent, which elevates your intrinsic motivation, which puts you in position to then become this infectious agent of this company and of this business and this model. So with that, FIBC means that you've got somewhere around, at 6,000 in front level volume, means you've got somewhere around 25, maybe 30 total clients. You have at least 5 senior coach legs, which means now you've learned that second step. You've learned to actually move people from client or people you've known to coach and then move them on. So they're now helping clients. So they've got at least 5 clients. And you've also become certified. And you're now in position to be this dynamo, this building block, this standard that you can build progressive teams. So when we look at Whitney's business, and what we were doing is, I'm working directly with Whitney, and we're spending time focusing on how do we really take the dynamo that you are, and again, be on purpose, prioritize what's most important, and then basically create productivity. Because the productivity in this business translates to all 3 areas. How many people are you touching physically, mentally, and how many people are you helping financially? So the whole key is, Whitney, at one time, when she started this, she came at it, and because she has unlimited energy, she went out and got amazing amount of clients on the program. And she actually used the first component of the business and started getting a bunch of people healthy. But even though she had a lot, she was working long hours, and she was amazing. She was making on average about $7,000 a month income, and she was the standard for front level buying. But she realized over time, and she was really good at it, she came from the sales world, she built individual accounts. But part of this is, listen, what was the obstacle? And then how do you seek growth in the obstacles away? And the obstacle was for her to overcome some of the nuances that were there in the beginning. And now basically she's got all you lovely folks that are part of her team on the line. So these are all independent people that now you're becoming knights. It's kind of like, we could either invest in Whitney and make her a better, let's make the analogy to an oil well. So an oil well produces, let's say on average, 40 gallons a day of oil. So how do you get more revenue or more oil to help fuel more homes out of that oil well? Well, you either spend some money and increase the diameter of the shaft, you increase the pumping mechanism, or you upgrade to some new computerized, and you may go from 40 barrels to maybe 60 barrels. But what never happens in that analogy is you never get up the next morning and find a bunch of baby oil wells, right? And that's the key thing that's happening here. So wherever you are in Whitney's team, whether you are already a huge, massive oil field, or you are actually just this little bitty oil that's coming out, the idea is if we help you learn how to go FIBC or how to build teams of FIBC, it puts you in position to not only accelerate, and this is all about accelerating the growth of your organization, but it accelerates our impact on truly getting America healthy. I'll tell you, I've been saying that for 15 years, and I'm tired of saying it and not happening. So this is the year it really takes that next level of organizational strength. So for you, my question is, how many of you that are not yet FIBC today want to raise your hand and say, I want to go FIBC? Let's see your hands. Okay, great. So how does that happen? Well, it happens through understanding that when we changed the compensation plan, or actually evolved it to the blended path, we wanted to make sure that we set up both mechanisms. So the first mechanism is, where does it all start? Well, one of the key things I've always talked about is every time you meet a candidate, somebody potential for this business, and really talking to people about empathetic coaching, bringing down their walls and finding out what they want is key in the beginning, because there's a lot of people out here that may obviously need the health transformation, and at the very beginning may need to lose weight, but they also may need the other areas of the trilogy. And both Whitney and Greg have done an incredible job of teaching you guys how to use the well-being evaluation and the trilogy wheel to kind of assess where people's needs are. But that's really where it starts. So if we really understand fundamentally that your goal is to start that candidate with 3 general thoughts. First, every single word out of your mouth, you want that candidate thinking, I can do that. I have time to do that. And it looks like, Bill, I'm having so much fun. You're having so much fun. I want to do that. And they may not be intuitive, but at the beginning, that is so critical that you adopt those behaviors earlier. Let me tell you why. If you're such a great coach and you provide such amazing knowledge and you're teaching your client the habits of health, and you're talking to them about, how to do 17 levels of sponsoring, they're going to go, wow, man, that's a really good coach, but I can't do that. I can't do that, right? So they'll be your client and they'll be excited and they tell people, but they're never going to be your coach. They're never going to become a coach because it's too hard for them. The second thing, if you're sitting down with your client and you're spending 4 hours getting them going over how you can use the Da Vinci syrups and spend a whole bunch of time basically, oh, you can modify this and you don't like the way this tastes. Do you know in the last 15 years how many times I've modified the meal replacements? And I do the meal replacements every day. About 5 times. And usually it means taking out some Tabasco sauce when they have the eggs that put that on it to modify it, okay? You know why? Because they're easy. I never ate breakfast until I had the MetaFast meal replacements. Why do I have? Because I can fix them in 1 minute, right? The whole point is, why are you spending 3 hours when the person, just because you don't like the taste of the maple syrup oatmeal, doesn't mean your client's not going to like it. So stop spending time doing all this extra stuff. Do just in time what they need right now for what the purposes and what they've raised their hand they want. So if they're starting off and they want to lose some weight, use the meal replacements as they sit and then make changes if they raise their hand and say, I don't like this. Does that make sense? And then the third part is, I'm looking at you guys on the line today. Some of you are going, yeah, some of you are chewing gum, having fun, doing a little this. Some of you are going like this. Okay, you get what I'm saying? And some of you are cracking up now. But the point is, everything speaks. So have some fun at this. I will tell you that people are not having a great time in their lives. So basically on the front, have some fun. Okay, well-being evaluation. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that today because you've got the masters, many of you that are really, really good at that. I want to really focus on the blended path. So as you start bringing on, you want to start, and by the way, Go Global is going to be great because we're taking out all these isolated pieces of a unified training system, and we're going to take and really expand on them, but starting your new coach strong. So let's say your coach has decided they're either an entrepreneur or they're basically a client decided because you made it so easy. Basically, they didn't take a lot of time, and you're having so much fun, they joined you. When you get them started, the aim to stay means help find out what awakens them. What do they want? Lisa Castro says something I love. People ask questions like, well, can I make money at this? Or can I lose weight at this? Or can I help other people with that? And will this work for me? And she always says, it depends on what you want, right? Depends on what you want. We're not in the business of telling people what to do. We're in the business of finding out what they want. And once we know their why, it's easy to spend time on the how, right? So moving people with the end point that you want to become a FIBC or you want to help your new coach become an FIBC, it's really finding out, going back to remember, purpose, priority, and productivity. If you want people to be productive and become FIBCs, including yourself, find out what the purpose is of why they're doing this business. Not what you think they should be doing. Why are they doing this business? Like Liz, I would say for you, you love the association. So great. So listen, how do we help you associate with more people and be part of this organization? And how do we start moving you forward to build those people? So then I would say specifically, so your role as coaches is not trying to standardize based on what you think, but find out what they want and then start there and start that process. Because if someone is intrinsically motivated, going back to taking aim, and they now want this, then that's how they're going to be successful. So the first month in the business, we love with your clients. Let me just ask this question. When is the most important time to be connected on a day-to-day basis with your clients? Anybody?
Very beginning.
The very beginning. Why is that, Pat?
Because they're just getting started. If you can get them started properly and they realize how much you care about them, you got them.
Okay, so what is the priority there?
Helping them start what they said they want to start, basically.
Okay, but I mean, let's talk about is just from the orientation of a client. What's the first thing you've got to get that client into?
Fat burning.
Fat burning. Okay, that is the priority. See what I mean? The purpose is they have now joined you because they want to lose weight, right?
Right.
Your priority is to get them into a fat burning state. Why? Because in the first 3 days, people are more likely to say, oh, God, this doesn't taste like steak and lobster. Oh, my goodness. I had to get a chisel out because I left my oatmeal cup in the sink, right? It could be any old thing. And all of a sudden, boom, run. They're out the door. It's another one that failed. I knew I couldn't do it, right? The whole idea in the beginning is to get them into a fat-burning state because now you're delivering on the promise. You, in essence, said we have a tremendous way to help you lose weight. We're also going to help you create health. You might want to become a coach, but right now in the first priority, it's always one thing that's the central focus. So rather than getting them into the 17th chapter of the Habits of Health, the first week you want them in a fat-burning state. You got them in a fat-burning state, they're now having what? Productivity, right?
Yes.
Productivity. So you've got purpose related to priority related to productivity. When those three are in alignment, they're now intrinsically motivated, and they're all of a sudden their belief systems come down of why this wouldn't work, their doubt comes down, and their intrinsic motivation goes up. Okay, fast forward. The first month with your brand new coach to set them up to potentially become an FIBC is getting them in the fat-burning state of becoming a senior coach. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Fat burning, baby. Fat burning state, okay? And that means that in the first week, you're not saying, well, make your 100-person list, make your candidate list, and go out and talk to people. No. The first week is what do you need to be and what is your relationship? It's being there by their side, on the phone, in person, on a Zoom, whatever three-way call is necessary to get them into a fat-burning state. So how do you get them into the fat-burning state? What do they need to do? The priority is what?
Get to senior coach.
Get to senior coach. The individual daily priority of that is what?
Action.
Action.
Yes, but action is the underlying feel. But what is the product? What are you producing?
Client acquisition.
Exactly. All that other stuff is part. It's actually bringing on clients. It's not practice partners. Okay? It's actually bringing on practice partners is one of the modalities. But the actual priority and the productivity is bringing on clients, right? So don't go on for a month of practice partners, because what's going to happen is it's going to go like this. Don't leave them alone and not get them in that productive state, because their motivation is going to go down. You can't, there's nothing more important. And I tell you, in building FIBCs and building teams, there's nothing more important than your hands-on. We team coach. And so in the beginning, you want to turn them on. You want to turn your new clients as they become a coach or your new entrepreneur. You want to turn them on to your partners. You want to turn them on to three-way calls. You want to celebrate and welcome them to the team. You want to make sure that they're finding the low-hanging fruit or the people that they know well that have been on the. So you want to be there by their side, get them into a fat-burning state. If by the end of the month they have now reached senior coach, they now have 6, 7 clients, they've just made profit, they just paid for their whole investment, they now have $200, $300 in profit, they made money, which never happens. Their motivation just went from a 7 or 8 when they were enthusiastic on day 1 when they started to now a perfect 10. And now they're ready. Okay, what are we doing next? And this leads us to what we're going to go over in a minute here, The map. The map is basically once they reach senior coach, boom, we made the senior coach chasm or hurdle as easy as it could be. We didn't complicate it with a map or all this other stuff. We kept it as simple as let's get some of your friends, family, and people you care about. Let's find 6+ people. Some people say, okay, and they may go executive director in the first month. But the end point is the fat burning state, the productivity means that they got the senior coach. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So every single thing you do in that first month with them is around that mindset, getting back to the purpose of why they became a coach, connecting it to the priority, which is client acquisition, and producing by the end of that month, senior coach. It's just as important as getting your new client in a fat-burning state. If your client doesn't get in the fat-burning state, and by day 5 or 6, because they're eating a salad with croutons on it, and now they're starving, they haven't lost weight, it's a lot harder to get them back on the program, isn't it? If you don't help them go senior coach in the first month, and I'm not going to say every single person's going to be, but you want to set that up because you want to tie in their goals. So what I do is I've totally, through transparent motivation, I've actually talked to them about that before they even became a coach, right? So I've actually started that process, whether they're a client or an entrepreneur. I say, do you know 5 or 6 people that the next 30 days we can get healthy? Because that's in essence what makes sense to become a coach. And if they say, oh God, I don't know anybody, then you need to basically get them to a point where they are more motivated, because you don't want to set people up for failure. Remember, signing someone up as a coach means absolutely nothing. Bringing in a partner and helping them build to senior coach means everything. Reaching senior coach is the first step. So there are 4 progressive steps, and I'm going to outline the skeleton. Today we're going to focus on, in the last part of this call, going FIBC. The 4 progressive steps are going senior coach, going blended path ED, because now you're not only bringing on more clients and developing senior coaches. 3rd is FIBC, and then the 4th is building teams of FIBC. Those are the 4 structural components of building a large, successful team. And they need to be learned in succession. So the easiest one is, if you bring on senior coaches and they know that going senior coach is what they did in the first month, and they saw, because you made it easy, where they say, I can do that. I can help someone else become senior coach. 2 is, we didn't take a lot of time. We didn't spend hours and hours in meetings with each other. We simply started doing 3-ways and got some people together, got them started on the program in a relatively short period. And you had so much fun at it that they now say, I can go get some senior coaches too. What does that do? That then builds your senior coach in position to now break their senior coaches, which puts them in position to become what? An FIB. Does that make sense? So what are the high leverage activities? Let's go through. Anybody?
Dr. A, can we go back to one thing? We had a quick question in here. Can we hit that question and then move forward? Who was it that had the question? MJ, you want to go ahead and ask the question?
I just wanted to go over again what the 5 things were, because I'm getting signals.
What 5 things?
Yeah.
You start at senior coach.
One is get to senior coach. Succession. Your outline for succession.
No, it's the business. Okay, the business. Yeah, I'm sorry. And let me go slower. I'm sorry. I get excited about this. I've never done this before. I'm getting excited. So, by the way, you know what? Every time is like my first time. And this is what I would say to you. If you fuel yourself with something, I talked about this last weekend. If you find something you're passionate about, something you know you can do better than anybody else, and something that can deliver an economic engine to give you the vehicle underlying resources, we can change the world together. So I just want to make sure, because if you don't learn these 4 things progressively, then what's going to happen is you're going to get in periods where your business is going to stall. It's just like in learning to become a fully integrated client and truly creating optimal health. You need to learn the components that are necessary to create long-term health. The meal replacements are a tool that has to do with two components. First component is putting yourself into position to reach a healthy weight and remove your visceral adiposity, your stored fat, and then also having a tool that you can use as a convenient way to feel your body. But that is all they are. They are part of a comprehensive system that's all part of one system that creates long-term health that involves how you move, how you sleep, all the macro habits of health. How you move, how you sleep, how you handle stress, how you eat, how you support yourself, how you conduct yourself. All those things are macro habits, and then we have micro habits that fall underneath them. That's all going to be disclosed to you as over the next 12 months as we evolve through the iterative process, the Habits Health system. In your business, there are 4 progressive steps, all based on learning, that create this long-term, allow you to become a trilliologist and thrive in your life and be able to fully realize the potential that you have that Whitney and Pat were talking about freedom, about choices, so that you can make, I define freedom as being able to make every choice, be responsible in position to make every choice you make that determines every aspect of your life. That's true freedom, where no one else controls any aspect of your life other than yourself. That is the beauty of true freedom. And that is available, by the way, for every one of you. Denise, am I putting you to sleep? So anyway, so here's the point. First thing, think of it, fat burning of health coaching, right? Fat burning of health coaching, which simply means that what do I need to do? I know, again, going back to the 3 components that are important, you have these in line. What's your purpose? What are your priorities? And what creates productivity? When all 3 of those things are in line with each other, then you're fueling with motivation and with high leverage activities that create results. And they sustain your motivation. They help you increase your mastery, and they put you in position. You know, basically, I'm not much of a believer in talent. I'm a believer in hard work. You know, I'm the only one in my family that ever went to college. I'm the only one in my family that ever has been at the level of success in life, not because I had some talent. I was willing to outwork and work harder than anybody else. And why I would work harder? Because I didn't work for someone else. I didn't have somebody telling me what to do. You know what? If you tell me what I have to do, my work ethic goes like this, right? But when I can have something that fuels me inside, it's my purpose, then I'll work forever. And so that's what we want to get with you. We want to make sure that this is aligned to your purpose. So I can't hear, somebody's breaking up there. Okay, sorry. That your priorities, in other words, we've aligned what your purpose is, what you really want. It's when I talked about WHOOP last weekend, you may know your wishes, what you really want, and you may know the outcomes that create, but those 2 alone are just fantasy. Those are just dreaming. But when you know the obstacles and then you have a plan, so as the obstacles happen, and that's what we're doing today. We're talking about the obstacles to being successful at moving yourself or someone else into FIBC and above, is that we don't align and we don't provide for someone the support in the beginning, so we never get them into flow where they're into momentum. So that's why just getting somebody in a fat-burning state creates the teachable moment where now they see the difference in their health, they're feeling better, their waist circumference is lower, their belt's fitting better, people are saying you look good. That motivates you in becoming a coach. If in the first month you're bringing on clients, you're starting to learn your craft, you're having, like Liz said, you're having fun because you're helping people and working with your coach, having fun, it's not taking too much time, and you can see now that you have hope and you now have a plan for your future. That is the essence of this business. And if you're really work on that part, all these other things will happen naturally. So the 4 parts are: bring your coach on, make sure they go senior coach in those first 30 days. Move forward in the next month using the map, and we're going to finish up the last 15 minutes going over the map. Make sure that they move on to become a blended path ED, and then the next step is, because there's a blended path ED, they may have $3,000-$4,000, maybe 15 clients, and maybe 1 or 2 coaches. They may actually have all. We're going to look at this in a minute. They may have all clients and no senior coaches, or they may have 4 senior coaches and not enough clients. But the blended path through the map will show you what is the area we need to work on. So let's bring up the map, Whitney, so we can then go to that stage.
Yeah, we have a quick question.
The 4 steps are senior coach, blended path ED, fully integrated business coaches, and then starting to build teams of fully integrated business coaches.
Yes.
Got it?
Outstanding.
Okay.
We have a question from Michaela O'Brien. Would you please take yourself off mute, Michaela, and ask Dr. A your question?
Yeah, hi, I'm Michaela. I just have a question about getting coaches into fat burning. Do you recommend, I know you don't recommend a lot of those steps before getting them their 5 first clients, but do you recommend practicing their story and teaching them how to bring people to a 3-way? Or what components do you teach before?
That's a great question. And I'm not saying I don't recommend any of those things. They're all in your buffet, right there in your menu. But let me give you an example. Depends on what you want. I love that. Lisa Castro is going to be doing a workshop on it. Depends on what you want. Learn that line so that anytime they're asking you a question, depends on what you like. What do you want? Depends on what you want, right? Because, Michaela, what I want to do is I want to find out how much do they want it. Because if they really, listen, if I've got Whitney Kell, I'm doing a stinking practice with her. I'm saying, Whitney, well, let's go and talk to 6 people today. She's senior coach in the first day because she's driven. She's not afraid of work. She'll talk to anybody. She's filter-free Whitney. I love that about her. She's going to go out and talk to people. She has no reservations. But then I have somebody that basically shy, really not too comfortable. I'm going to look and see, depends on what you want. So in other words, number 1, I want to know their level of hunger inside. How bad do they want it? What's their personality like? And then I'm going to ease them in. If they shy and they're scared to death to talk about somebody, I'm going to ease them in. And we may take a couple, maybe in their family member, right? We may even take their mother who loves, like, let's just say for a minute, I'm going to role play with you. Michaela, does your mom love you?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's practice with your mom. If you were really shy, I'm not saying you, but I'd say, so let's practice with your mom. Okay, great. So then we would take your mom and we would talk to her. And at the end there, I'd probably go, so Mom, you're going to get on the program now to help because you love your daughter too. I might even do a little bit of that, right? But what I know is I need in the beginning, I need to be so there and so slow because if you're really shy. Does that make sense? So there's that anywhere in between that. But remember, being a health coach depends on what you want. It's, in other words, finding out what they want. What speed do they want to go at? So you might have some people, by the way, I'm saying is that we want everybody to go see your coach. But if the person, because you didn't go through that preemptive process before they became a coach, and you didn't ask them, and they didn't really understand what it meant to be a coach, what it means to be a coach. If you ask me, Michaela asked me, Michaela, what does it mean to be a coach?
What does it mean to be a coach?
Well, Michaela, being a coach means that we're going out and helping awaken people to the possibility of improving their health and then being for them. So one of the key things will be important will be go out and attract people, awaken them. So that's kind of what we'll do. And in the first month, we're going to be working together to find people you know that trust you, that like you, that have either seen you if you were a client, lose weight and they've been excited about it, or people you know out there that might be interested in improving your health. So what we're going to do in the first month is find at least five or six people. Can we do that? Right?
Yeah.
So I'm setting up preemptively from before they become a coach. Because if someone is scared to death and they love the theory of becoming a coach and the theory of joining this mission, but they're not going to talk to anybody, help them get healthy, and then allow them to refer, because there's no stigmata with referring. If they're not ready to take that next step, then have them refer. Because I got to tell you, anybody, of all you people on the line, just blink your eyes. Have you ever had somebody that was great and they were talking to people about it and they referred you 3 people, and then all of a sudden they became a coach and they just forgot how to talk, right? Yeah, because up front you didn't really disclose, or they didn't understand. And remember, communication is the response you get, right? Mm-hmm. So if you're not effectively communicating, so the answer is, Michaela, to your question, the long answer to your short question is, all those things fall within that, but I'm going to use in priority the most effective thing that fits whatever that personality of my new coach is. Does that make sense? So if my priority is if they actually become a client, that's my first priority, right? Because if they become a client, then they've got an actual client to coach. It's not in theory anymore. Because the reality is, sooner or later, if they don't bring clients on, they will never have that beautiful home in Malibu. Right.
So, Dr. A, I would like to, first of all, thank you. We have 8 minutes left, and I generally like to stop the call about 5 minutes before the end to schedule the next one. So what I'd like to ask, first of all, to go back to Michaela's question and just kind of put a bow on this. When you have a client, what are you looking for? What are those keys? We talked about it before, but can you outline it so that we know exactly what to look for in that ideal coach?
Yeah. Well, first of all, let me say this. Anybody that raises their hand is passionate about it and is coachable and teachable, the rest of the things they can learn. So I'm going to tell you what the ideal package looks like. It's kind of like in in high school when you have a 5-star player, has all the criteria, they're fast, they're strong. But the reality is, if they don't have the heart, they can come in and they can become a dud. And it happens all the time. I know some 2 and 3 stars that become incredible athletes, right? So it has to do with circumstances. The most important thing by far is that they are hungry and passionate about this business. And number 2, they're coachable and teachable. With those 2 things, we can solve the rest of the problems. The third thing I'd like to see from them, obviously they have to like people. The third thing or fourth thing is that if they have a circle of influence, in other words, they're a person from their community, they run their PTA, they're the chair of their PTA, they have great relationships, people love them, they're affable, they have no strangers. That's a really good criteria because they have a larger circle of influence. They can tap into it, makes it easier. So in review, number 1. And the last one is, by the way, I got to like them. I never, ever, ever sponsor somebody into the business that I don't like. So if they don't have integrity, they're not trustworthy, they want to come in and make money and they don't care about people, I never sponsor people like that. Remember, if you really think about it, this person is going to come in and be your partner for many decades. To go back to the point that Pat was talking about, longevity and sustainability. They're going to be your partner for a long term, right? So don't bring them in if you don't like them. The first and most important thing is that they have a hunger, they have a desire. If they're the kind of person, you're at the restaurant and they go, "Can I help you?" They're probably not the right one. And if they've been your client and they are a nightmare, they don't listen to you, they're not coachable and teachable, they can't stay on the program over a day, they never opened up the habits of health, they're not going to be a great coach. You're not going to miraculously become a great coach. So,
Dr. A, can I also point out something is that based on that criteria, back to Michaela's question, that will depend on whether you start to train them on telling their story or whether you just pick up the phone with them that day and we go gangbusters calling people, right? Their personality style and how they feel, if they're passionate and super hungry, they're going to just go for it, like you said I would. But some people are going to need a little bit more time.
Yep, absolutely. So I do want to just put it up just for a minute because I want to lead them. We're going to do the next call on this. But put up the map just for a second because I want to show you something that ties in. It gives you a document that actually describes everything we've been talking about. Okay, so in the map, as you look at it when we designed this, there's 2 sides. The left side is on client acquisition. The right side is on senior coach acquisition. Okay, so as you so remember this. This is not something you use or start teaching to your brand new coach. The only thing your brand new coach needs to do is what Whitney said is, and what I've been talking about and I talked about with Michaela, is to make sure you get them to senior coach. So because if you use this in the beginning for some people, listen, if the person's an analyzer, they're going to love this. But for the majority of people, you're going to start overwhelming them. So all I'm using this for, before I get them to senior coach, I'm just simply doing a lot of interaction with them, keeping it easy, sensing what they want. I might give this to somebody that keeps asking these questions if they're an analyzer. But for most people, this is the document. Once they go from step 1, we pretty much beat to death how to go senior coach. Step 2 is to have this document, because this document is the roadmap monthly to guide them to first blended path ED and then on to FIBC. So it fulfills both those steps. And then once you're FIBC, we have it in process, the what we call our LAP, which is our leadership document, which we haven't totally evolved yet. We're in the process of getting that ready. So this document becomes a great way that you can sit down with any of your coaches that are senior coach above, and you can have them on the last day of the month fill this out, so that on the first day of the first week of the next month, you now have a document to sit down and you know exactly what their current reality is, and then you can set their plan. So if you look at this document and you see that they have no senior coaches and they have only clients, then you know the next step is what? To move forward and start learning the skill set, which is to bring on senior coaches. If they have mostly senior coaches and only 6 or 7 clients, then it's important for you to reinforce for them that it's important to bring on more clients, because those clients become your pipeline to develop coaches. And then the last part is you can then set up to create the trajectory of when they'll become senior coach. So I wanted to leave time to close up the call. Whitney, whatever else you want me to do, certainly I would love to come on and do this again if it's okay if you guys enjoyed it.
Yeah, fantastic, Dr. Andersen. I know everyone on the call benefited tremendously. For the next call, what I would like to suggest, and I'd love to get feedback from everyone, is that we pick 1 or 2 people on this call and you walk them through the map. Would you be open to doing that? Do you think that's a good plan?
I'd like to basically, if we're going to do the next call next month, I'd love to see those people. So I'd love you to find 2 or 3 people, right, that want to go FIBC. That you told me that all these people raised their hand and want to go FIBC. So I'd love you to find 3 people in this group, an email Whitney, and basically, or it could be more. But you guys made the decision by the call next month when we do this that you're FIBC. So
okay, so here's how I want to put that out there to this team, because we have such an amazing group of people, is that what we need is for you to volunteer for that. First of all, we're going to schedule the time with Dr. A right now, but we need you to send us your map with what you want and your request that you have Dr. A facilitate you to take you through to being FIBC. And the first 3 that we get.
By the end of February, you'll be FIBC.
Yes. Yes. What do you think? Does that sound fair? Nod your head if you think that sounds fair. Everybody say yes.
No, you don't have to say yes. Only say yes.
No. It's for the people who agree that let's do that process. If you send it in, you have your map ready, and you've requested to work with Dr. A, you're in. And we're happy to work with you prior to that so that you're comfortable with doing this.
Yeah. Sounds great.
Yep.
Sounds great.
Excellent. Well, Dr. A, fantastic. I just want to review briefly. It's 1:00 right now, so unfortunately we don't have time for questions, but purpose, prioritizing, productivity. Keep it simple. I can do it. I have time to do it. I want to do it. And remember, everything speaks. And I think one of the number 1 themes that I heard you say, Dr. A, was partnership. We're all partnering together. What I'd like to also, being coachable and teachable. What I'd like to also request, Dr. A, is that we leave at least 15 minutes for direct questions, Dr. A question time, because I feel like you have so much wisdom to share, but I would like to start with having people share their questions just to make sure we get everything covered, because some people are maybe sitting there having something on their mind and they're like, darn, I didn't get to ask it. But if there is a question you'd like to ask, please send it to your global director and we will get it to Dr. A. Dr. A, is that okay? Would you be willing to answer that through email?
Listen, I'm here to serve. Whatever you think whatever you guys want me to do.
Brilliant. We'll organize the call next time so it's interactive in the beginning and you guys can get on and do the calls. Okay, so now I'm going to stop the recording and we're going to plan the next call.